today I'm a Nepali, I want to work something in the country, right? Don't you think there's a responsibility of the government at the same time, the banks all at the same time?
Biggest responsibility is with you.
Gen Z protesters formed a community called Youths Against Corruption. That's how Sushila Karki was picked for the post. And that's how Nepal went from discord to accord.
I see that fire that says, I can do it. And that's why I know our tomorrows are definitely much better than our todays and yesterdays.
I've seen a lot of youth migration in the country. They think that in other countries better than being in their own country.
I've talked to them and they said, we're here because once we come here, the income we're sending home, I know that if I stay in Nepal, I cannot do this.
What changes would you like to do for your country?
Cancer that has spread, unfortunately, in Nepal to a large extent is corruption. When I try to take the money out of your pocket, then there is going to be fisticuffs that are going to happen.
By the way, what all things we learn with age?
How precious youth is.
I think age will give you many other answers also.
I know very young people who are extremely wise. They know two things. They know their happiness formula, and second, they know their core competencies.
How can you fix your mind?
The question is how much?
Line there. So first of all, thank you for being part of Impact Stories.
Thank you so much for thinking I'm impactful enough to be part of your podcast.
I was just wondering, your roots start from India also, because your journey starts from India. I'm really much interested in knowing where everything started and how you came into banking.
Okay. All right. It's quite a different journey. I wouldn't say an epic journey, but it's a different journey. Different not because of me, but because of my parents. So my grandfather is Raja Tarak Bahadur Shah and Madan Keshary Shah. So we used to have principalities in Nepal before Prithvi Narayan Shah united us into one country. We were the kings of one of those principalities, my grandfather. So my father is the younger son of my grandfather. My father studied medicine in public health, and my mother studied political science and international affairs. So she joined the Foreign Service and my father joined the WHO, World Health Organization. When I was born, theirs was an intercaste marriage. That is interesting as well. Okay, so my mother was the first Nepali woman to go and study in America. She did a bachelor's in Barnard College in Columbia University, and then she did a master's in Johns Hopkins in science. She then came back and joined the Foreign Service. After that, she kept moving up in the Foreign Service, and as you know, Foreign Service, you get posted here and there. My father joined the WHO. So me and my younger brother, Ujjwal, who's the two of us were like that. We were born here and we started our schooling here in Kantishwari, which was like a nursery, preschool sort of a thing. Then Bangladesh got independence, and the then king, his late majesty, Birendra Bir Vikram Shah Dev, told my mother, you go and set up the embassy in this new South Asian neighbor of ours, Bangladesh. So she went as Charge d'Affaires to set up the embassy right after Bangladesh's independence. And as she was moving, she told my grandmother and grandfather, I think I'll take my sons with me. Because initially till that time, we had grown up on the laps of my grandmother and grandfather because both mother and father were working. We were not happy because everything we knew was Nepal. Everything we knew was our grandparents. Everything we knew was the environment here. Why do we have to go to Dhaka? Why do we have to go with why do we have to go with our mother? It wasn't like, oh, we're going with mom. It was like, we have to leave our grandparents behind. But anyway, we went to Dhaka. We went to a school called Green Herald, and we were doing well 2.5 years, making friends, enjoying being Bangladesh, the sunsets, the big bananas, seafood, everything. And then the coup happened, and the then President Mujib was assassinated, and we had to be flown out immediately. Right. So my father was in Delhi at that point of time, so we were flown to Delhi. At that point, I still remember me and my brother totally devastated, crying, screaming, saying, what again? Why do we have to move? And I still remember these two young boys, me and my younger brother, one night in Delhi in our house having this conversation that, look, every 2.5 to 3 years, this is going to happen to us now, it seems. If we are going to keep crying and screaming, this is going to have a huge negative impact and we're not going to enjoy life. But think about it. How many kids get the opportunity to go to a new country, make new friends, new school, new food, new everything every 2.5 to 3 years? This is an amazing opportunity for us. Because of that one conversation that me and my brother had, my life is what it is today. Because if it had been the negative, if we had continuously complained, we both went to 9 different schools before we graduated from school. Today, I would have been an alcoholic or a druggie in some corner, and society would have excused me, saying, parents, career was very important. They were taken to 9 different schools from one place, no stability in their childhood. So obviously he's an alcoholic or a druggie and he's, lying out like this. But we didn't. We took the other side of the coin. The other side of the coin being, let's look at the silver lining of this. And I knew people from Somalia, from Kenya, from Afghanistan, from Czechoslovakia at that time, when most people didn't even know those countries were there. We went, we had eaten their food, we had seen their house, we knew their culture. Wow. And that is why today Anil Shah is as comfortable with my cousins and uncles up in the hills in our village, or having a fine dining meal in New York or in Singapore. Because my DNA is change. My DNA is accepting new things. And today, if there is one thing that is happening anywhere in the world, it is the exponential rate of change. And that is why Anil Shah is successful. So what I want to say is, anything that happens in your life, if you look at the darkness, you will find darkness. If you search for the light, you will find the light. The light may be very small in the beginning, but protect it. Because in the darkness, even if you light one match, it will give you enough light to find the candle. And then you light the candle, you will find the lantern. You find the lantern, you'll find the light switch. And then there's light everywhere. But if you don't light that match and you just fixate on the darkness, oh, it is so dark, it is so miserable, I am so sad, then the darkness will consume you. So from there, after going to 9 schools, I finished in Delhi. And people who are from Delhi, I tell you, you think you're from Delhi? We are from Delhi in the early 70s, the pre-First Asia Aid, the Kiran Bedi police woman Delhi. Okay, there were no flyovers. Delhi was completely different. We used to live in New Friends Colony, which is a huge colony now. But at that time, there were like 7 houses in New Friends Colony. Vasant Vihar was there, but New Friends was just coming up. So finished in British school. Me and my brother, we had an air gun. Now just imagine this. We used to go in the evenings shooting with our air gun to little birds that we used to find. Can you imagine a colony in Delhi where 2 kids are walking around with a gun now? What would happen, But that was accepted. That's the evolution that has happened. Some of it good, some of it bad, obviously. But these 2 kids, we love Delhi. We are Delhiites. People say, oh, Delhi you can't like. You love it or you hate it. We love it. So after that, my parents said, what do you want to study? Now here's the second tale. My father had got me a little camera from one of his Eastern European trips. There was no digital at that time. So the uniqueness of this camera was that with a 36 picture reel, it used to split each negative in half. You could take 72 pictures. So cost saving, so on and so forth. And I started taking pictures and I started loving pictures. Even today, I'm passionate about photography. But when I finished school and my parents asked me, what do you want to study? I didn't have the courage at that time in 1983 to say that I wanted to study photography. I don't know what would have happened if I had said that and where the discussion would have taken me. But because I didn't have the courage, I said I want to study management, which was also something I wanted to do. So they said, fine, then try. Since I went to a British school, they were afraid I would go to the UK because all my friends were trying to go to the UK. They both studied in America. They wanted me to go to America. They said, why don't you go to America? Have a tour, check out the colleges. So I went to America. And I went to the colleges and they all said, I was 16 years old at that point of time. And they all said, look, Mr. Shah, you haven't done your SATs. You don't have 12 years of schooling because I'd only done my O-levels. So I'm sorry, we cannot. Come back next year. Well, while doing this, I went to a university called George Washington University where I had the same conversation and the admission officer said the same. And I got up and said, thank you. And I was walking out when she said, where are you from, Anil? And I said, I'm from Nepal. And she said, Naples? I said, no, Nepal. Mount Everest, Nepal. And 1 minute, looked at something and said, just sit down here. And she went in and said, the admission director would like to talk to you. So I went in, sat down, and he said, Anil, you haven't had 12 years education, no SATs, no TOEFL. How can you? So I said, I know that. I was about to leave. He said, no, but let me tell you, you are from Nepal. We have nobody from Nepal. If we add you, we have 1 more country in the university. So because of that, we are willing to take a risk on you. The question is, are you willing to take a risk on yourself? I said, what risk? If we give you admission, it will be probational. You have to keep a GPA of above a certain amount, then you can stay. Otherwise, you have to leave. If you leave, all the money you spend here is gone. So as any South Asian child would do at that time, I said, I have to ask my mother and father. So he said, okay, but it's already late. I can give you 1 day. So I went down. There was Gelman Library. There's a fast food truck there. I was having my lunch and Coke and thinking. And I said, because of the time difference, and there was no cell phones then, it was, So call my mom and dad and tell them this is what they've said. And mom and dad will say one of two things. Forget it. Come back, finish school here, do 1 more year, then go back after high school. Or they will say, you can do it. Go ahead. If they said come back and I came back, I would go through life saying I had already got admission. It was because of my parents I came back. Otherwise, I would already be in college. If they said stay and I couldn't keep the GPA, I'd say for unnecessary pressure they put on me to go to college. I should have just gone to high school like everybody else. What was I trying to do? I was waiting to put the risk onto them of my life. And I said, is that what you want, Anil? Definitely not. Take the reins of your life in your own hands. Say yes or no. What are your parents going to say? So I walked back in and said, you talked to them and said, no need. I'm going to take that admission. And that was the first time I realized, whether it is your parents, your brothers and sisters, mentors or gurus, learn from them, grow from their knowledge. So never let anybody else have the reins of your life in their hands, even if they're your parents, because it's your life at the end of the day. If you let someone else have the reins, all you're doing is looking for the easy way out, looking for someone to blame. Because if something goes right, you'll take the credit. But you want that safety net. If something goes wrong, I'll blame my parents. I'll blame my gurus.
Which is easier path.
It's easier path. That was the first. I was 16 years old. So I did BBA in International Business Finance. And I was very fortunate, I think, that the drinking age at that time was 18. So while all my other friends were 18 and could go, how much Coke could I have? So most of the time I spent studying. So that's why I finished. So after I finished, I was 20. I went for continuous MBA. You could do MBA in 1 year over there. And then the international student advisor looked at my thing and said, Anil, what's your rush? I said, why? He said, you're 20. The next youngest person is, I think, 28 or 29 in your class. Why do you want to rush through life? America gives you the opportunity to work for 2 years through a practical training visa, it was called at that time. Why don't you take that opportunity? Work for 2 years, take continuous registration, you'd pay $50 or something, and come back after 2 years with work experience, then you will get the power of the MBA. Again, I thought, I'd already told my parents I'm doing my MBA straight. They were all very happy. Should I ask them? I said, wait a minute. My life. I said, okay, I will take half your advice. They said, what half? I said, I will take 2 years of work experience before I come back here, but I won't work here. I want to go back to Nepal and work in Nepal. And she said, wonderful. Then I told my parents, I'm coming back. They said, why aren't you doing my MBA? I said, I want to work first. There was a lot of discussion, but they said, it's your life. Do what you want. So I came back. When I came back, I was thinking, what am I going to do? And just back from America, and I met a bunch of filmmakers who were roaming around trying to make a movie in Nepal. And they thought, okay, this is a Nepali guy, he's back from America, thinks like us. Said, why didn't you come in as an assistant director? So my first real job was as an assistant director for a Walt Disney Paramount Pictures movie called Night Train to Kathmandu. Okay, you'll see. If you see that movie on YouTube, you'll see at the end, assistant director Anil Keshary Shah. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But that wasn't my real first job. My first job was in America. Everyone was working. So I felt a little, shy that I wasn't working. Till that time, I was very proud. My parents could afford it. I never had to work a single day. But at that point of time, nobody would believe you have never worked. Nothing, no retail, no paper delivery, nothing. I said no. So suddenly something that was giving me pride became something that was giving me shame. So I got to work. So I was looking around, and since I had done nothing, they said, okay, you can work in the student cafeteria as of someone who cleans the floor. So they taught me, you put the mop in, clean, dry the mop again. So I was very happy. Minimum wage was doing that. It was about 3 weeks into college. I just made some friends, and I see those friends coming in, and I'm mortified because here I am mopping the floor, and these friends, Americans and from other places, are going to see me mopping the floor. They're not going to want to be my friends. Why would they want to be friends with someone who mops the floor? The South Asian way of thinking. Yeah. They came, said, hi, Anil. I said, hello. And hello. And they said, oh, you got a job. Congratulations. It was Friday. We must celebrate today. Day ended. I went to the dorm. I said, I'm not going to go with them. They're booed. They want to make such fun of me and so on and so forth. Then I thought, it's just starting 4 years. Are you going to hide? Let's go. See what they say. How much fun can they make? So I went. They were all drinking. Again, mine was just Coke. And so they were just talking and no one said anything. So I said, hey guys, excuse me. Just come on. Say it. Bring it out there. And they looked at me and said, oh, yeah, you got a job. Congratulations, man. Okay, this round of drinks is on you. And they went on to talk. And it kept boiling in me that when are they going to start making fun of me? And why are they not making fun of me? And then I said, guys, come on. What's the problem? Come on, I can't take. And then one of them, I think, got it and said, wait a minute. Do you think because your job is mopping the floor that we're going to make fun of you? We won't want to be your friends. We'll somehow disrespect you.
It doesn't work that way.
And I was like, he said, wait, Anil. Did we ever ask you, what does your father do? How big is your house? How many cars do you have? What is your bank balance? We are friends with you because we like you as a person. Your job is your job. You are you. And that's where the first time the fact of dignity of labor came in my mind. In South Asia, in Nepal, in the whole, it is still not there. I'm the CEO of a bank. I could be a very, very bad person, but everybody says, hey, CEO of a bank, he's a great guy. Oh, this is that. I could be someone who's bringing me tea and coffee, who could be as a human being much better, but tea, coffee, stop, please. A human is a human. Your job is your job. Your hobbies are your hobbies. All put together is, yes, you, but you are much more than that. And that's what that job taught me. That's why when I came back and did the movie thing, I studied something else, but I thought, hey, this is my job. Let's do it. My parents got a bit shaken because they're, oh, son's going to go into movie line now. This is terrible because you know how movie line is looked at in still, even at that time, it was even. But then I got into something called ICMO, the International Center of Integrated Mountain Development in financial. I was a financial analyst there because I had done finance. So I worked there for 2 years and I was ready to go back to America. But then again, 2 women intervened in my life. One was my mother. She was appointed by then King Birendra as the first woman ambassador of Nepal, and that too ambassador to India, which is the most important diplomatic relationship with us. So she went to Delhi. Then the lady who is now my wife, Rati, she was studying in LSR in Delhi. And she was also in Delhi. So I thought, wait, go back to America, cook my food, clean the bathroom, make my bed, or go to Delhi. Live with my mother. My Rati is also there, you know what. So it was a no-brainer. So I said, I'm going to. They didn't even tell them, try this, that. I got into FMS. That's when I told my parents, I'm not going back to America. And they were shaken. You know how our Asian mentality, you must do your master's. I said, no, I'm doing my MBA. I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm coming to Delhi to do my MBA in FMS. And I still remember my father saying, yeah, that's why they call us Thakuris, a little mad, because everybody does their bachelor's here and goes to do their master's in America. You do your bachelor's in America and come and do your master's in, that's, and I told him, look, this is because of you. And you're preaching. He said, why? What have I said? He said, you're the one who said, if you walk on the path everybody walks, you will get only to the destination that everybody gets to. You want to get to a different destination, walk on a different path. So I am walking on a different path. So he said, yeah, okay. You enough Guffy, you'll survive in Delhi, come. So Delhi, I love Delhi. As I said, we grew up in Delhi. So I went and did my MBA in Delhi. Again, I was thinking of finance, but most of my classmates were engineering and then MBA. So if I did finance, I thought, wait a minute, do something different. So I did marketing. And again, after that, there was pre-placement in FMS is one of the renowned things. I said, I didn't work in America, but I would come back to Nepal. And in Nepal at that time, in 1991, there were 2 main industries. One was tourism, hotels, and the other, which was starting out, was banking. So I gave resumes everywhere, got my interviews, and Nepal Grindlays Bank, which is now Standard Chartered Bank Nepal, called me for a couple of interviews. There was a British G.R.W. Bradshaw was the general manager. Then there was Bhavna Rana and Sachin Joshi were the seniors who interviewed me. And then the next day again got a call and said, okay, please come in. The GM said, well, we're willing to offer you a job if you're willing to be a Grindlays banker. I was excited. I said, yes. He said, wait. We don't have management training. We don't have lateral entries. I know you've studied in America, this, that, and all, but you have to start as an assistant at the entry-level position. You have to be account opening, cash teller, this, that, so on and so forth. And your salary will be 3,500 rupees a month. That was my starting salary, 3,500 rupees a month. Again, I thought, should I talk to my parents? I said, it's your life, Anil. You want it or not? This is the starting point. This is not your destination. This is the starting line. Can you, if you start on this path, get to where you want?
You never used the influence of the family.
Never. Said, okay, took the letter. They said, you have to start. It's British Bank, start from today. So I called my mom. My dad was in Delhi. He was here for a holiday. I said, I got the job. They were so happy. Okay. Now I'll end with this story. So they were so happy. I worked and I went back. By 5 o'clock, when I went back, my entire family was in the house. Man has become a banker now. Everyone was so happy and so absolute elation. And through all the congratulations, my mom said, it's a British bank. They must have given you a letter or something. I said, yes, appointment letter. So she opened the letter and she said, hey, wait a minute, there's a mistake or something. So I said, what? They spelled my name wrong. She said, no, your name is okay, but your salary, it says, is 3,500 rupees. Sudden silence in the room. And my father said, yeah, let me see. I said, what? They missed a 0 or 20? What happened here? I said, no, that's my salary. And that's where my uncles took me aside and said, hey, give this up, this ideological pureness and all that. Look, we'll give a call. Someone will give a call. This is Nepal. Forget this, 3,500 rupees. It'll take you 10 lifetimes just to make the money your parents spent on your education. I will call someone. You can't become the GM, maybe AGM. 2 years, you'll become the head of one of these government corporations, cigarette, cement, a shoe corporation, whatever it is. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And they were all like, no, you can't. This is ridiculous. You'll ruin your life. And that's when I'm glad my father was there, because he looked at me and said, look, it's your life. Is this what you want to do? Are you sure? And I said, I'm sure. He said, okay, let him do it. Let's see what he can do. And that's when everyone kept quiet and let me do it. If I had let them make a phone call, none of those corporations are here in Nepal now. The political system which gave us the leverage is being changed completely. Today, I would not be in your podcast. I would be living off some house rent and sitting in some corner. So, doesn't matter where you start. If you Google today, highest paid Nepalese, still most probably my name will come. It will not say I started at 3,500. It will say where I ended up. Right. But the confidence was in myself that I can do this. If you have that confidence, don't go for a phone call. Don't go for some...
But don't you think the Asians like this such a way that you just make a phone call and get everything sorted?
Yes, it's a very easy way to do it. But once you get into that habit, it's an addiction. Then when it doesn't happen, you get irritated. Because it's not only a job, for anything, a doctor's appointment, some restaurant booking, then you think you feel privileged. And I call it the God syndrome. Okay? God syndrome. I want to share that with you because in banking, then I went to Stanchart, Nabil, and Nabil, our objective was to make it number one. Right. 13 years I was in Grindlays Stanchart. All my banking I learned there. Went to Nabil. 6 months as GM, then I became CEO. I was 38 years old. Okay, when I was first appointed CEO. I was the first Nepali CEO of Nabil Bank, which is Nepal's first private sector bank. Okay. Now, we took the objective, we want to make Nabil number one. Till then, Stanchart had always been number one. Even the board said, how can we, that's a global bank, we're just local, how can we do this, that? We said, let's do it. It took us about 4 or 5 years, but we slowly started to gain and become number one. And that's when Anil Shah, who is just a banker like everybody else, started to become the brand Anil Shah, who he is today. In business colleges, in schools, people started to take me as an example. Look at him. He can do it. 3,500. Today, he's the CEO of Nabil Bank. That's what you need to do. And that brand started to think, and people started to recognize me. Okay. So it was a Tuesday. I'm a religious person. I was going to a Ganesh Mandir with my little daughter, was little at that time. And the Guruji of the Mandir looked up, there was a line, and he saw me and said, hey, leave, let him come.
Yeah.
That's Anil Shah, he has no time. And I went, and my daughter is like, even the Guruji knows who you are. I said, I'm Anil Shah. So Darshan came. That same evening, it's Ganesh's blessing, I suppose. We were having food with my parents. And my dad said, I think, Anil, now you need to go to India or in America. My brother was settled in America at that time, once a year at least. I said, why? Because of the tension, stress? Do you think? He said, no, I don't know how you deal with the tension and stress. But what is happening with you now is that this recognition you're getting is slowly making you think that you are special, that you're not like everybody else, that God has made you specially. And this is making your feet leave the ground and your head become bigger. And when your feet leave the ground, no matter how much you move, you will not go anywhere. And you will go up, and one day you will fall in such a way you will not be able to get up. I don't want to see my son fall like that. I thought, yes, it's true. I am feeling that. I am human also. Everybody knows me, everyone wants a selfie. Everybody's saying, oh, like, wow, man, it was great. I'm like, wow, I am great. I said, that's true, but what's this Delhi and America thing? He said, okay, just suppose you plan to go to Delhi. You get off in the car. This is the reality of life. Someone will recognize you, a police, someone, oh, Anji, come, there's huge madness. Someone will take you through, check-in counter, there's a huge line. Airport manager will see you, 1A, sir, for you, first seat you will get. You go immigration, oh, Anji, come back fast, the country needs you. Oh, yes, I'm Anil Shah after all. You get into the plane. 1 hour, 15 minutes to land in Delhi in the Indira Gandhi International Airport. You come out, it's like a fish market.
This was my second question.
Yeah, you come out, it's a fish market there. And you think, it's no problem, I'm Anil Shah. Someone will call me. I don't have to stand in this line. I'm not like all these people. 15 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, you're in line, nobody calls you. And you get to the front of the line. And the immigration officer looks up at you. And as is said with the Nepalese, looks at us and says, hey, Bahadur, idhar aao. And you're like, Bahadur? Who's Bahadur? I'm Anil Shah, man. And you go up there and you give your passport. And he looks at you, kya? Pehle baar India? He's like, what are you talking about, man? I'm Anil Shah. And finally, you go, your baggage comes. You think someone will pick it up. You say, I'm Anil Shah. No one's going to pick up your bag. Nobody comes. So you pull out the suitcase you have and you going towards the green channel and someone says, oh, bhaiya, idhar aao. Who is he talking to? I'm Anil Shah. What's in the suitcase? What would be in I'm Anil Shah. So put in the x-ray. You put in the x-ray, come out. You go out as hot as anything, as Delhi usually is. It's a line for taxis. You're like, now I'm sure I don't have to stand. You have to stand in line. Another 15, 20 minutes, you get to the taxi. You think the driver's at least going to recognize him. No one's coming out. You put the suitcase in and you sit down. And as the taxi pulls out, the driver looks at the rear view and said, oh, yeah, Kathmandu se aaye hain. And you think, oh, I think he's recognized me. Huh? Haan, bhaiya, Kathmandu se aaye hain. And he said, oh, theek hai, bhaiya. Kuch maal waal chahiye to bolna. Maal waal chahiye? What the hell are you talking about, man? I'm Anil Shah. And that's when you'll realize that you're no more special or less special than anybody else. You are where you are because you worked for it. The minute you stop working for it, you go to the back of the line. That's called the God syndrome. And as your brand builds, most of us get the God syndrome. And someone has to put the sense, like my father put into me, keep your feet on the ground, brother. Keep your head in the clouds, but keep your feet on the ground. Because if your feet start to leave the ground and you start to believe I am God, the day will come when you will come crashing down and you will not be able to get up. So that is where my banking career and the Anil Shah brand is today. My feet are firmly planted on the ground, head in the clouds. And after 31 years in banking, I thought time has come to do something that is close to my heart. Because I saw the development of my northern neighbor, my southern neighbor, China and India. And then I saw my country's development. And I thought, why? Why are we not at pace with my neighbors? What is wrong? So I thought, maybe we're lazy. Maybe as a race, we're lazy. That's why we are. Then I looked at my brothers and sisters in the Middle East, in Malaysia, Korea, Japan, using their brawn, biggest highways, biggest buildings. Oh, Qatar World Cup, those stadiums, all made on the sweat of Nepalese brothers and sisters. I said, no, we're not lazy, we're hardworking. Then maybe we just don't have the brain, I thought. Then I looked at my brothers and sisters in Australia, America, and Europe, doctors, engineers, businessmen, social workers, politicians, excelling in their work. So we're able to use the brain, we have the brawn. Why not in Nepal? So there is one void in Nepal, and that void is a leadership void. I'm not talking about only political leadership.
Yeah, that's one part of the story.
Yeah, social sector, private sector, everywhere. 17 years as CEO, the one thing I learned was leadership. So I thought, okay, the time has come to give back. So, no more being CEO. Hand over to the next generation. So I set up a company called Lead Nepal Inc., which the vision statement is crafting better leaders. So whether it's with army, police, security services, bureaucracy, political parties, or private sector, or colleges, I now spend my time giving the knowledge that I have in the Nepali context to make better leaders. It's not that we don't have leaders. We have plenty of leaders. We just don't have the transformational leaders that we require, for whom leadership is not about being in charge, but leadership is about being responsible for the people in your charge. And that's the quest I'm in right now.
I have a very interesting question for you.
Sure.
Attitude is greater than aptitude?
This is like saying, is heads better than tails in a coin toss? Okay? It's not. You need to have the balance of aptitude and attitude. I know so many people who have the greatest aptitude, but terrible attitude. I will not stick around with them. Or people who have great attitude, but nothing here. They will also not excel. Aptitude and attitude is something you need to balance. The better you are at balancing the two, the exponentially your rise in any your personal, social, professional arena of life will be. The example I give is, we had someone who did a Harvard MBA in finance and came and gave an interview in a bank I was in. We didn't hire them for the simple reason because their attitude was terrible. The aptitude of that young man was more than all the people in the interview panel and me put together, most probably. His aptitude was there. I mean, he did an MBA in finance in Harvard. But why didn't we take him? Because his attitude was so bad. He was already in God syndrome. He was like, okay, tell me, what are you going to offer me? I have all these banks in America that want me. You want me in Nepal? My parents want to tell me. It was as if, I wanted him as my executive assistant because I wanted to show off a Harvard graduate in my team as well. But I think he wanted me as his executive assistant because he came from Harvard. So we knew that if we took him in, it wasn't the only question of his performance. His toxicity would go into the entire team. Because the attitude was so bad, even though the aptitude was up here, we didn't take him. So for me, whenever I look at an individual, whether on a social, on a family level, or in a professional level, I look for someone whose aptitude and attitude is balanced. It doesn't have to be the highest, but it has to be balanced. And if you are balanced, I think that's the sort of person that I want to hang around with. In my workplace, in my family, with my friends. Just hanging around with geniuses who think they're the best, God's gift to the earth, it's terrible. Because if the attitude is bad, and I say this, it's a fine line between being humble and being invisible. Okay, when I studied in India in FMS, we used to have guest lectures, and when they used to say any questions, everybody used to raise their hand. Because everybody wanted to be. Nepal, we are known for humbleness. And they say, as a people, we are humble. We love the Nepali people. They are so humble. That's great. It's our core competency. We should never lose it. But in this quest of humbleness, sometimes I believe we have become invisible. Okay? I will give you the example. Me, my wife and daughter go and sit in a restaurant. Okay? At the minute we sit down, I go, hey, idhar aa, wait, give me order. Wait, idhar aa. That is not being humble. That is terrible. When someone does that, I cringe. I like, oh my God, that's terrible. But as terrible is the three of us sit down, some other people come and sit, they get their menus, one table has got their food, my daughter is telling me, Dad, I'm hungry, they haven't even brought our menus, what's happening? And I say, it's okay, they're busy, they'll come to us at time. That is not humble, that is invisible. That is just as wrong as going, hey! Both are wrong. There's a fine line you have to walk where your humility is there, but you're also not invisible. You work, you get the reward and recognition for your work, not somebody else. And that is what the aptitude and attitude balance is about. When you're able to balance those two and walk on that fine line of humility and not being humble, I think that's when you see the fire inside.
I totally agree to it because you see, in India, when we used to say, oh, Nepalese, then he used to say, oh, they are very good people, we can trust them. But what job you give them? What job? Which require to secure
you. Yeah, say it, My Indian friends used to say, oh, Nepalese, ABCD. Right. Okay. You know what ABCD is? To my Nepalese, to my Indian brothers and sisters. Aya, Bera, Chowkidar, driver. ABCD. Very good. But do you have Nepalese doctor? Oh, doctor hai, engineer, banker, oh, scientist. Ye bhi Nepali. Because the perception is there. It's not even negative. In those jobs, if your child is the most important person in your life, small child, you have to go to work, you look for a Nepali ayah. They will take care of my child better than me. You want to guard the property you have worked so hard to, you look for a Nepali to think. You want someone to drive your family around, you look for a Nepali to do that. But you want a neurosurgeon, do you look for a Nepali? Do you want a computer engineer, do you look for a Nepali? Do you want a wealth manager, investment banker, do you look for a Nepali? Well, now you look for a Nepali because now ABCD to XYZ, we are all there. Kaha Gaga to Chetragya, as we say, we cover the entire plethora now. It will take time for our Indian brothers and sisters, Chinese, and the world to recognize that. But hey, those days are gone now. I remember when my father took a house in New Friends Colony, okay? Suddenly we found a whole load of guards outside one morning when I was about to go to school, and I told my dad, there are a whole load of guards outside, what's happening? So my dad came out and he looked and they're all Nepalese. And he said, "Ki bhai bhai, kina aako?" Hami sabaizana Nepali le pani, meaning we have all come here to see that actually a Nepali has also taken a house like this. We could never imagine that a Nepali would have a house in this colony which we guard. Okay. From that, we have come to a place where Nepalese, are at par and walking and working shoulder to shoulder with anyone, anywhere in the world.
I've seen a lot of youth migration in the country, but I must tell you that I find the bigger problem is that they think that in other country, like an American dream, is better than being in their own country. Why they're getting placed as a guard? Why can't they work for their own country? Because they never respected their own country.
Exactly. And that's the sad part. We say that there are no opportunities and all. Yes, it has limited opportunities when
Which country don't have flaws?
exactly, and then the countries they go to now, they're seeing the flaws there in the most real sense of being, chained up and put in a plane and sent back also, and all sorts of things. But yes, I don't want to generalize, for the simple reason that the people who especially go to the Middle East, Malaysia, Korea, and Japan, I've talked to them, and they said, we're not here to take TikTok videos. We're here because at home we cannot sustain our families. Once we come here, whether we're a guard, whether we're a waiter, whatever we're doing, the income we're doing, earning, we're sending home. Now our house has a tin roof. My child is wearing uniform and going to school. My parents can access good health care because I'm here. I know it's terrible. I'm working in this 50-degree heat or in these whatever factories, but what to do? I know that if I stay in Nepal, I cannot do this. India has changed. You see, when I was studying in India, let me tell you, the students from Nepal, we could take 3 pairs of jeans and some foreign goods from here to India, to Delhi, Chandigarh, or Roorkee, wherever we studied, sell those to our Indian friends and make enough pocket money for the entire semester, because there was no foreign goods in India. People used to come from India over here for 2 things, to Kathmandu, to Pashupatinath and Vishal Bazaar, okay, to so go and shop foreign goods. Now, whether you want a Rolls Royce or you want a pair of sneakers, how much money you have in your wallet is what matters as to what you can get in India. No one can take Hara and Levi's jeans and sell to in India, okay? So there's been a huge change in that context in India. And now slowly we're seeing that in Nepal. I'm very clear, being in banking for many years, no country can become rich by targeting the rich people and trying to make them poor. Countries have tried, nationalize everything, divide the wealth, so on. No. We're human beings. Everyone wants to push themselves so that I get better. I work hard, I get a bigger car. If I work hard and I get the same as everybody else, why would I work hard? So no country can become rich by making the rich poor. But no country can become rich by only making the rich people richer. Okay? There will always be the rich, the super rich, but there has to be a system, an ecosystem, an environment where the masses believe I can do this also. I remember my mother was the ambassador. I used to go in a car to my MBA, to FMS. And there used to be people studying like anything. And I used to ask them, guys, you enjoy life. And he said, Anil, can we tell you something frankly? I said, yes. I want my children to enjoy the life you're enjoying. And that's why I'm working like this. I said, what do you mean? He said, look, we have never had a house of our own. We have always lived in rent or in something. We have never had a vehicle in my family. I want to be the first one by topping FMS to get into an MNC whereby I will get my house, get my parents and my sister and brother in my house. I will buy a car and we will go for a drive, just like you do with your family. That fire that was there was missing in Nepal. Now I see it in the youth. Whether they're staying here, they're going abroad, they're being in the tech area, they're being entrepreneurs over here, whatever it is, I see the fire. I see that fire that says, I can do it. And I'm not just going to resound to fate and say, oh, this is what God gave me and this is what I'm going to be. And oh, Anil is this and I'm always going to, no. Anil is this. Tomorrow I'll show you, I'll be his boss. That's the fire that I saw in my mates in India. And that's the fire I see in the youth, not in my generation, but in the youth of today in Nepal. And that's why I know that our tomorrows are definitely much better than our todays and yesterdays. Not because of I'm confident that as a leader I can lead. No, I'm confident that they, whether they use their brawn or their brain, they're going to take this country screaming and shouting if they have to the next level. So it's a bit of a quandary that when I look at myself, I see a generation that the youth are looking up and say, oh, we want to be like Anil Dai. And I tell them all the time, no, don't be like me. Be like me, this country will be better than me.
Today I'm a Nepali, I want to work something in the country, right? I don't want to move abroad, I want to work here. Don't you think there's a responsibility of the government at the same time, the banks at the same time? Because when you don't create an opportunity, why will I stay here?
You're very right. I think everybody has a responsibility to create the ecosystem and environment, but the biggest responsibility is with you.
Yeah.
If in your mindset, as you said, you already are thinking from the time you're in class 11 in school that I want to do 12 and then I want to go abroad. And this is what has happened
The seed is wrong. The seed is wrong.
Yes, yeah, the societal level. If there is someone, if my daughter or son is 19, 20 years old and still at home and in Nepal, my neighbors, my relatives will ask, what happened? Didn't get a visa yet. So much tension. You should try more. Go to another agency. It's not like, why is your child gone abroad? It's why is your child not gone abroad? And this is in the villages, it's in the semi-urban centers and urban centers. I will sell your mother's gold. I will send a little plot of land. You just go to Australia, America, make a life for yourself. If possible, at some point, take us also. This is the darkness we're in. Okay, this is the reality of the darkness that Nepal is in right now. As I said, we can keep being consumed by the darkness, or we can strike a match. The match will not give light everywhere, but the match will give light here. And that light is tech right now. The tech sector is given light. Lots of people, one laptop, they're doing work for the Australians, the Americans, the British, the whatever, earning in dollars. And they're saying, why do I want to go out? Yeah, I'm earning 70% of what I would there, but my cost of living is 20% of what it would be there. I'm saving more. I want to do this. Not working for big companies, working for myself. The other is, after COVID, the e-commerce boom has really helped the youth. Because otherwise you'd have to open a shop, you have to do it. No, now, whatever it is, I can do it right here. So people are selling herbs, selling cosmetics, selling whatever it is, all thing. And there's a huge now delivery network. I have a scooter. I can now be my own boss. I can do delivery. I can do Toodle. I can do, whatever InDrive. I can provide this. So the change is coming by not being employed, unlike in India, by big companies and so on and so forth, but by being self-employed. Okay. That is why I say, and this is, I'm a bit of revolutionary thinker. We keep saying that our minimum wage is too high and our labor cost is too high. And, we keep telling our youth, my generation keep telling the youth, don't go abroad. How will Nepal develop? If you go abroad, you need to stay here. Stop. You know what I'm saying? What my generation is saying? If you are the ones using the brawn and you're going abroad to the Middle East or Malaysia, Korea, and we're saying don't go abroad, I'm worried not for your future or the country's future. I'm worried who's going to drive my car? Who's going to cook my food? Who's going to do my gardening if all these people go abroad? I'm not worried about your life. I'm worried about who's going to look after me and my family if all these people go abroad. Or if you're using the brains and you're going abroad to America, Australia, I'm not saying for your thing or the country. I'm saying who's going to work in my bank? Who's going to work in my company? And who's going to work in my factory if all these people with the brains are going to go abroad?
Right.
So, again, like the aptitude, we need to get a balance. We have to stop thinking that it is my right to become rich, richer, richest by having cheap labor. We need to get to a point where the people working need to say, my productivity needs to go up. I need to be as productive as the Indian worker, the Bangladeshi worker, the Chinese worker, and I need to get compensated just as much as them. Okay. And the person who is employing needs to think, I'm not looking for cheap labor. I'm looking for productive labor. I just saw the CEO of Apple say, someone asked him, are you in China for cheap labor? He said, which decade are you in? The Chinese labor is more expensive than American labor, but their productivity is 3 times more than the American labor. That's why we're in China. That's the area we need to be in. We need to look at our country for its core competencies. Okay, I'm very clear on this. I grew up with my leaders telling me they were going to make Nepal into Singapore or Switzerland. Now Singapore, Switzerland is too small. The leaders are saying we want to make Nepal into America or Australia.
Right.
We can never. Because their core competencies is completely different than ours. Let Singapore show us the place where Buddha was born. Let India show us Pashupatinath. No, you cannot. There are some core competencies that are Nepalese. Let us focus on those. Let us make Nepal the best Nepal. Not India, not China, not America, not
a copy.
Nepal, not a copy, the original piece we want. Today, you are in Nepal, you go to Pashupatinath. Why? It's Pashupatinath. You go there, you get blessed, you get, whatever it is. You come to think you want to go to Mahadevi temple, the place where Lord Gautam Buddha was born. You want to get peace and blessings over there. Nobody can do that. Nobody can copy it cheaper and sell it anywhere else. There are certain things that we do. Herbs, the Ayurveda. Everyone is going to natural therapy, yoga, this, that. We are the soul of natural therapy. Not $20. I'm talking about let's have $8,000 a night. Yoga therapy. You have to go by helicopter. You stay there. You have the greatest yoga. You have Mount Everest in front of you. and you're doing yoga. You can do that everywhere else, but you can't have Everest outside. You can't have fishtail outside. You can't sit in Pewatal and do it. Let us use our core competencies, whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in tourism, whether it is in service sector, whatever it is, let us use our core competencies. The youth will come back. Today, the youth of India and China are returning because they are seeing it is better for us economically, socially, everything is better for us if we go back. My father was in WHO. He was in Delhi for many, many years, decades. And the headquarters of WHO is in Geneva. And I still remember in a dinner, a senior person from Geneva said, Dr. Shah, you're now at a very senior position. I think you should come to head office in Geneva and work there. And he just smiled and he said, why? He said, no, because it's the headquarters. He said, today you're in this house. You see this house? This is where I live. You see that person? He's my cook. He cooks such good food for me. You see these people? They look after my children. You see that? That's my gardener. And you, the person who drove you here, that's my driver. I go to Geneva. I live in a 1-bedroom. I have to cook and clean myself. I have to go in a subway to the office. Why? Why would I do that? Just to say I live in Switzerland? I'm very happy where I am. This is what put things like this in my mind that, wow, it's not the place you're at. It's what you're doing in that place that actually matters. And unfortunately, the youth of Nepal, if you go to the airport and ask them, why are you leaving? Is it because of your political thought that you are in the minority and that's why they're pursuing? No. Oh, it must be your religion. You must be a minority in the religion. No. Oh, then ethnicity most probably. Your ethnicity is no. Then what is it? Your ideology? No, it's not. 99.9% of the youth will say it's economic. It's the stomach, the fire in the stomach that I need to fulfill, of mine, of my families, of my parents. That's why I'm going abroad. The problem is economic. The solution has to be economic. You cannot bring a political, social, religious solution to it. You have kidney failure, no good going to a heart specialist. You need to go to a kidney specialist. So for us to transform this country to be what it can be, we need to focus on economics. And that's the transformation we need. And once we get that transformation, hey, the Nepalis will be back.
I'll tell you a funny part. Okay. In India, there was a leader giving a speech about we are the Indians, we should work for our own country and this thing. And when the lecture ended, I went to him and asked him, where your son and daughter go?
Exactly.
He said, he studied in abroad.
Yeah.
It's fine there. What? So I said, what is the speech you're giving? Because it doesn't correlate.
Yes.
So this is the only problem. The leader should be sound enough. First step they have to take.
Yeah.
Don't put burden on other people or, oh, this is your responsibility. At the same time, what you said, it's your responsibility at the same time too.
Absolutely. That's why I don't tell youth to come back. My daughter is in New York. How could I say to someone will troll right now in this podcast and say, where's your daughter?
Yeah.
So I never tell them. I say, if you want, you should come back. It is my job to make an environment where my daughter and everyone else's sons and daughters also come back. Until that is done, I don't have the right to be holier than thou and say everybody should come back and work in Nepal and so on and so forth. You just can't do that. Everybody wants to make a better life. Everybody wants to make a better life for themselves, their families, their whatever it is. If that is a possibility in Nepal, definitely. I remember when I was studying in India, everybody used to say the biggest liability for India is the population. It is this population that will drag India down. It is this population that will never let India stand up. There was famine, there was disease, there was this, that, and today, in my bit of my lifetime, the biggest asset of India is that population. From a needle maker to a plane maker wants to be in India. Why? Because of that population. The middle class, a vibrant, earning, disposable income in pocket middle class is bigger than the whole of America. America is 230 million people, but that has rich, middle, poor. India has 500 million people who are richer than the middle class Americans, who are able to go in and buy that car, who is able to go in and buy. That's why everybody wants to come to India, no? That's why everyone wants to go to China, no? That population. So in terms of population, Nepal is also not a small country. If you were in Europe, we'd be one of the biggest countries. Yeah. And in terms of land, you take this, okay? It looks big, right? You do this, it looks, oh, so small. But it's as big as that, no? Our land is like that, no? It's all mountains. You flatten it out, it's quite a big land that we have. So the only thing is, we're not a poor country, we're not a small country. We need to change the way we think. Our mentality is poor, our mentality is small. We need to think big. We need to think not $200, $2,000 tourists coming here. We need to think of special pujas in Pashupatinath where the entry of that puja is 10 lakh IC. Okay. I give an example. Mr. Ambani, Mr. and Mrs. Ambani's son just got married. And I like them. They like animals. They like God. He's done lots of things for animals. Yes. And he's in every temple. He just had a massive walk to a temple also. Why haven't we invited him formally with his new spouse to come for a special puja in Pashupatinath?
No, it's a big question.
When the king of Thailand expired and his crown prince became the new king of Thailand, why did we not invite him to come as a special guest to Lumbini for a special prayer to start his reign? This is our core competencies. We cannot make shoes or clothes. And people say, we must make in Nepal. I say, okay, tell me one thing. Shoes, jackets, clothes. And there was one time Nepalese should only wear Nepalese things. From shoe to topi, it should be Nepali. And the then finance minister asked me, what do you think of that? I said, my burger, my strata will be very happy. So what do you mean? He said, right now, if you look, even the poorest people have shoes on. In winter, they have a jacket on and all because it comes from neighboring countries at a very cheap price that they can afford. You stop that import and you say Nepalese manufactured thing, the shoe which costs 200 rupees will cost 2,000 because we don't have the economies of scale to make it at 200 rupees. The jackets, they will not be able to. So in winter, they will be in a t-shirt with empty feet walking. Is that the Nepali nationalism that you want? That's pseudo-nationalism. No, we don't want that. We want, the nationalism that is based on our core competencies, our ethos, whatever that is. Find that out and work towards that. But why we don't do? Our biggest export is palm oil.
Palm oil.
We export to India. How many trees have you seen from which we get this palm oil in Nepal?
0.
It is all imported, packaged in packaging material, which most probably also the plastic comes imported, and then re-exported to our
neighboring countries.
And it is the largest export. And we are so, look at our palm oil. Hello. Someone is becoming very rich.
Yeah.
But is it benefiting the economy? I remember when my mother was ambassador, I.K. Gujral ji was the prime minister. They were very close and called and said, Madam Ambassador, I want to ask you 2 things. The amount of ball bearings that your country has imported last year from your statistics is this. Can you show me one industry in Nepal that is using ball bearings? You have none. What is happening to all these ball bearings? They're going in bullock carts and coming to my country. Second, cloves. If you look at the number of clove you have, think each Nepali is eating God knows how many kilos of clove. Are you eating that much clove? So when we give, that is India gives some concessions to Nepal, it is for the Nepali people to benefit, not for a small group of Nepali people to benefit. Why don't you tell the government to do that? Instead of using every good gesture we show as an arbitrage opportunity for you to do some trading and for some people to make lots of money. Nepal will never develop. Rich will become richer. But how will we get that poor to become richer? And this a Kuwaiti crown prince told me once in another lifetime thing. He said, Anil, today when I was having breakfast, there was something from Brazil, something from Switzerland, something from Australia, something from India. There was nothing from Nepal. I said, so how do we get from? He said, from Nepal to the Middle East, every day there are more than 20 flights. Of those flights, majority of them, when they come from Nepal, are filled with labor. And the one thing labor has in common, do you know? I said, no, what is it, Your Highness? He said, labor never comes with luggage. They will come with the clothes on their back and one little backpack. Plane has 2 sections, people section, luggage section. When it comes from there to here, it is all the luggage section is empty. I want to have those Himalayan oranges, those apples, that trout, the water even. Why don't you start doing that and sending it here? I have the dollars to pay for it. I want the best of the best. I want to know this orange was picked off some Himalayan hill day before yesterday and today it is on my breakfast plate. Wow. Your farmers benefit, we benefit. Then they don't have to come here. They can do whatever they are doing in your home country itself. That is how you can develop your country. You don't need any. So you're landlocked. So what? There are planes flying all the time to Qatar and here. Do you know there are, I think, 6 flights a day? Fill it with your goods and send it. But high quality goods that we want to buy.
Right.
That we cannot buy over here. Why will we get Himalayan trout from? We get it from the Himalayas, from Nepal. The water, he said, just make high quality. There's Avian, there's Perrier. Why don't we have some Himalayan water from the snows of the Himalayas, the highest places in the world? I'll buy it. Everybody will buy it. This is the thought process we need to get into.
Let's say you understand banking really well. Who else than you? Let's say I want to make you a very senior position in the politics. I want to place you there. What changes would you like to do for your country?
Yeah, well, our country, unfortunately, it's like a patient has multiple organ failure. So if you have heart,
That's why I want to understand at every level.
yeah, the heart will think. But when a patient has multiple organ failure, it becomes very complex because then the heart medicine will affect the kidney badly, kidney will liver badly. So they have to do a comprehensive plan. So we also at that point of time where we have to do the comprehensive plan. But the comprehensive plan's core has to be economic transformation. You know, from a Hindu country, we have become a secular country. From a monarchy, we've become a republic. Have the people stopped going out? Why are they still going out? If those were the problems, they should have stopped. No, it's because we've got kidney specialists, we've got liver specialists, we've got lung specialists, but the problem is heart. Unless you get a heart specialist, you're not going to solve the problem. So my thing would be that the political leadership, because political leadership is the one that sets the vision, that makes the ecosystem, that makes the environment in which everyone else can. And they have done it in politics, from royalty to republic, from Hinduism to secularism, from ethnicity where some castes were higher to lower to everyone being the same. But the main thing now is economic transformation, and not only lip service, by actual actions to say, okay, what do we need to do? How do we need to promote?
And how we can do at the ground level?
Ground level. And the biggest, let's say, the biggest hurdle is not that our political leadership or bureaucracy or private sector, we don't know the solutions or we don't know the problem. The biggest thing is the system right now. And the problem, the cancer that has spread, unfortunately, in Nepal to a large extent is corruption. And this corruption is such that it is very, very difficult to root out, because it is positively impacting hundreds of thousands of people in terms of their pocket. And when someone tries to hit your pocket, someone ideologically, religiously doesn't agree with you, we can have a debate, we move, no problem. But when I try to take the money out of your pocket, then there is going to be fisticuffs that are going to happen. So that is why I think the political leadership has to have the wherewithal and the acumen to say, I want to take care of our Right Honorable Prime Minister has said many times, and he's in many ways, I'm sure he's moving towards that as well. The bureaucracy has said, at least we're talking about it. We are no longer saying that it is not something that is there. I remember once, some Transparency International or something, I know which organization, ranks countries in terms of corruption. And we are like one of the most corrupt countries in the world, okay? And I remember once, we read that the cabinet actually decided that this ranking we are not going to accept.
Yeah. That was my question.
No.
Yeah.
It's like going to a doctor, showing my blood report and all, and the doctor saying to you, oh, Anji, it's your cholesterol is high, your triglycerides high, your pressure is high, sugar is high, you need to change your life, you need to have these medicines, you need to stop eating these things. Doc, yes, Anji, I refuse to accept these reports. But this is your blood report. I refuse to accept it. I refuse. I don't feel, I am perfectly fine. But only your reports are saying, Doc, I throw those reports out. It's exactly the same. Here is something, we are here. No, we refuse. And by refusing, the problem is solved. I refuse, Doc Saab, I'm going out. So am I healthy now? No, I'm going to die. Yeah. If I'm going to say, yeah, these are the blood reports, yes, doc, please give me also I'm going to stop having red meat, I'm going to drink, I'm going to stop smoking, then the chances I will recover. So for us to get out of this systemic problem of corruption, first we have to say that there is a problem.
But corruption starts from here.
Corruption starts from here and goes all the way down to there.
We have to fix this first.
No, again, I say I'm one of those people who said I must fix me. If I need something to be done, and someone says it's going to cost you $500 or $50, small amount, Chapani, give $50, he'll do it. I don't hesitate twice to take out $50 and give it.
But what choice he got?
Yeah. So I'm part of the problem. No, it's not only the person taking, it's the person giving also. If everybody says no to giving, who is going to take? Where are they going to take from? But whether it is 50 rupees or 5 crore rupees to get my job done, I'm willing to pay. So obviously the person is willing to give, willing to take. So taking out corruption is not easy when it's systemic like this, because of all the Nepalese who are sitting in this room, there is none whose relative, friend, or neighbor is not going to be arrested if we are serious about this. And while you may think, oh, Anil, he's great, he'll take out corruption. If Anil comes into a position of power and actually starts taking action, and your uncle or your mama or your chacha or your aunt or someone gets put into a police van, you'll be the first to call me, Anil, what are you doing? Stop this. How can you take my uncle? Oh, because he took, 5 crore rupees. That's why we're taking your uncle. Are you willing to do that? It's like cancer. When a person walks in and the first time they're diagnosed with cancer, most of the time the person seems completely healthy.
Yeah.
And they say, sorry, it's come out that you have, what? And it's this stage and we have to do chemo and radiation immediately. So until the doctor starts the procedure, you seem completely healthy. When the radiation and chemo starts, your hair falls, your teeth fall, your appetite goes, you become thin, you become skin. And people start to say, what sort of doctor is this? He's killing you, man. But what's the doctor trying to do? He's trying to kill the cancer. And if he is successful or she is successful with radiation, chemo and all these heavy drugs, the cancer will go away, you will go into remission and slowly your hair will come back and your health will come back and all that. But during the process, the hatta katta person who went to the doctor is going to look like near death to kill the cancer. In a country, to kill corruption is exactly the same. It is not going to be 2 cetamol and you're fine. It is going to be chemotherapy. It is going to be cancer. My uncle, my aunt, my best friend is going to be in jail.
Yeah, so my question is, who's going to take the charge for it?
When we were a monarchy, our king was Vishnu Avatar. He was determined by God. You were born from the womb of the queen, you became the next king. We had nothing to say about it. Now we don't have a king. We have a president, we have a republic.
Right.
Whether it is our president, our prime minister, or the people in the provincial parliament or the local, they have all come from our vote. So who is going to change is the people. Because right now, when the Nepali people, me included, and everybody who's Nepali who's here, who criticizes our leaders, I say, let's wait. Can we do one thing? I said, yes, what? Look up and spit. He said, but then the spit will come on my face. Yes. Just like that, you voted them to power. Yeah. You don't criticize them. It is like criticizing yourself. It's like spitting up and then being amazed that the spit fell on your face. If you want change, we are not going to get change through, we have tried the revolution. We haven't tried a coup, thank God, till now. But those countries who have tried coups have also not gotten through. Look at our South Asian neighbors who have done coups. They have not also got. It has to come through the people. And today, the advantage we have is the Nepali, educated in the sense of the school education. One thing we're all educated is socially. We all know our rights. Very few know the responsibilities, but we all know our rights. So the next election, when someone comes with an envelope or someone comes and gives you a feast of alcohol and meat and says, vote for me and this is the thing, and you vote for them, you lose your right to complain. Because they have not become elected to do something good for you. They have become elected because they give you an envelope and they fed you some feast. They have bought your vote.
You're happy about it.
You're happy about it. You have no right to complain after that. Whether they bring a school or they bring a health post or they bring doctors or road, no. Because they bought you. That deal is already done. What you expected, you got. You got the meal, you got the envelope. Now shut up for the next 5 years. If you don't want that, think. Think about not the political party, not the color, not the flag, but who is going to do? In the local level, I keep telling people, when someone comes and says, I will make Nepal great and all, just say, excuse me, sir, wait. Forget all that. When are you going to bring a doctor in this health post? When are you going to bring quality teachers in my school? When is this road of mine going to be blacktopped? And say, no, sir, let me talk about Nepal. I don't care about Nepal, my village. When is the doctor coming? When is the teacher coming? When is the blacktop coming? When the Nepali starts to question like that, that's when the answers will come.
So why are you wearing this?
It's a Rudraksha. The actual Rudraksha is a family heritage, very old. But this is my prayer bead. So I meditate. So I use it for meditation. The reason I meditate is Kathmandu traffic. So I used to get very irritated when the driver is driving and the traffic is there and I'm screaming at the driver and what's happening, this, that. All that happened was that by the time I reached the place I was reading, I was hot-headed and I was all irritated. It took me just as long. So I said, this is not working. So I put this on. So whenever I'm in a traffic jam, I meditate and let it take as long as it runs. Doesn't matter. I reach at the same amount of time. And the other reason I wear this is I have this feeling that today's Nepali youth, to be modern, they have to speak in this language, the English is the language. They have to look Western. They have to, talk Western. And somehow, somewhere they feel reflecting our heritage, our religion, our history somehow makes them not modern, unpargamar type. And I want to say, no, you look up at me and you want to take a selfie. When you take a selfie, I do this, you see my Rudraksh. I wear a janai. I do jap in the morning. I pray twice a day. I'm not telling everybody to do that. I do that. And I clearly say, if I was in America, I was only paying psychiatrist a lot of money. I'm in Nepal, I go to God and I talk to him. So for me, one of the core sources of my energy is religion and God. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm Hindu. I'm proud of it. I'm not telling everybody else to be Hindu. It's okay. You be whatever it is, but you don't have the right to tell me also. I'm not fanatic. Yeah, I go Tuesday to Ganesh, Monday to Shiva, Thursday to some Devi. But that's okay. Other religions go to their temples on Sunday. Some religions pray 3-5 times a day. Nobody calls them fanatic. So don't call me fanatic because I go to the temple 2-3 times a week. But I do it because I want to. I don't ever tell even my daughter or my spouse or anybody else to do it. Religion, my relationship, God is my relationship with God. Very personal, very intimate. And I don't like anybody else telling me what to do and what not to do in terms of religion. And I'm not going to tell anybody because once we start to debate on religion, it becomes emotional.
Yeah.
There is no logic.
Go long road.
So I cannot bring my God and you cannot bring your God to fight it out to see who is the greater God. So what happens? So you and I end up fighting and killing each other in the name of God, which I'm sure no God wants his children to do that. But for me, yes, I am religious and I'm proud of it. I'm proud to be religious. There's nothing wrong with it, but it is wrong if I start to tell you that you need to be religious. And if you want to be close to me, you need to do this. You need to pray like this. You need to wear a janai. That is wrong. That is your decision. You decide what is good for you, what is not. For me, this is good. Don't tell me that in today's day and age, what is this with God and prayer and temple? And come on, you believe it? Yes, I do. I'm proud. I believe in it. You want to believe? It is up to you. You don't want to believe? That's up to you as well. But I believe in it.
By the way, what all things we learn with age?
How precious youth is. That's what you learn with age. How we spend youth in ways that could have been different. So I want to share with you in that is something I learned when I was in the States from a very elderly Korean gentleman who used to head a huge company. The objective of life for all of us is exactly the same. It doesn't matter whether you're old, you're young, you're in an urban setting, in a rural setting, in developed country, underdeveloped country, developing country, doesn't matter. The objective of every human being is exactly the same. We all want to be happy. That's all we want. It's a simple word. We want to be happy. Think about it. There is nothing that you do willingly that doesn't make you happy. But what makes you happy, you will do again and again. Now, what makes you happy, me happy, and you happy is completely different. What we sometimes try to do is what our parents, we want to do the same thing. What society, no. You need to look inside you and first and foremost determine what is it that makes me happy. There are 5 ingredients of happiness. How much of each ingredient is required for you to be happy is completely different than me.
What all are those?
You have your unique happiness formula. I have my unique happiness formula. Everybody has their unique. Find out what it is. So the first ingredient is family and friends. Some of us, the more time we spend with family and friends, the happier we are. We go to some place, we see a movie, we want to come back and do it with our family and friends. Only then can we enjoy it. How else can we enjoy it? Some of us, our family and friends, have to call our office, book our appointment with the secretary, put it in our schedule, otherwise we won't be there. Whatever we say, it is because we're not deriving the happiness from family and friends that others are. The second, money and economic wealth. Yeah, big smile there. For many, it is money and economic wealth. The more money you have, the happier you are. Every moment that you are awake, you're earning money, your gold, your stocks, your land, your holdings. Oh my God. Night you sleep, you dream of money, money, money. There's so many people, young, old, who say, Anilji, all else is okay, but money and happiness? How does money make anyone happy? Money gives you ulcer, heart attack, high pressure, tension. How does money? They don't even know what the connection is between money and happiness. For them, money is just something that is required to earn a livelihood. How much does money make you happy? Third ingredient is to be healthy. Nobody wants to be sick. to be healthy, emotionally, physiologically, psychologically healthy. Some people, young age, old age, they meditate, they do yoga, they do exercise, they eat right. Health is very important to them. They invest a lot of time and effort into health. A lot of people, especially the young brothers and sisters, say, Anilji, when we're your age, we'll think of health. Right now, there is just wealth, wealth, wealth. How much does money and economic wealth make you? The fourth is power, status, and authority. For some people, it is very, very important. When I come in here and people recognize, whoa, movie stars feel important, politicians feel important. That is very important. If people don't recognize you, you don't feel happy. You go through a whole day and no one takes a selfie. You're like, what happened? Oh my God, need to do something. Get more podcasts out there or do something of the sort. Huh? But some people say, Alji, I want to work with you. My work will be exceptional. I'll work better than everybody else. But I don't like this tank. It's go out, meet people, do party, this, that. I can't. If I have to go give presentations and all, I get a headache, I get fever, I even throw up. For them, power status is a demotivator. What about you? That's the fourth. And the fifth one is your desire to do greater good and your relationship with God. For some people, doing for others gives them so much happiness. For some people, they're like, what crazy people? Why aren't they just working, making? And then the relationship with God, that higher being, that gives happiness. You look at your grandparents, you look at, some people who, it's God, it's, they're praying, they're doing this, they're that. Maybe at a younger age, they were not. So these are the 5 ingredients, family and friends, money and economic wealth, health, power and status, greater good and God. What you need to do is put these 5 on a piece of paper, write 100 on top, and divide this 100 in terms of importance to each ingredient. If money is the most important, put 40-50 in money. But then you only have the balance left for the others. You need to do this alone because we put so many masks on for our parents, for our relatives, for our children, for our spouse, for our friends, that we don't know what we look at ourselves. You need to know, your soul needs to know, this is the food I need to be happy. Take off all these masks, put your soul naked in front of you and write it down. If it is family and friends, put family and friends. If it is money, put money. If it's greater good, it's greater good. If money is not a big ingredient in your happiness, don't do business. Don't join a multinational or a bank. You'll earn lots of money, but then you'll feel hollow. Everyone will say, wow, look at him. He's become this manager, general manager, CEO, so much money. But you'll feel, oh, there's something missing in my life. What is missing is you haven't looked at your happiness formula. If greater good is what makes you happy, get into social work. Do an NGO, get into an INGO, get into development work, do greater good. Maybe will not get you a lot of money, but that's not what makes you happy anyway. Right. It's something else that makes you happy. But if you don't know what makes you happy, if you get to the airport this time before coming to Kathmandu, you knew you were going to Kathmandu, no? You didn't just get to the airport and say, what is the first flight out? I'm going to catch that. Nobody does that. You need to know your destination before you get onto a plane or a bus or a train or a ship. For a small trip in your life, don't you think you need to know your destination? Of course you do. And your happiness formula shows you today, not yesterday, not tomorrow. I do this every year on my birthday. I have been doing this for 22 years, okay, or even more. And I used to have it in a notebook. Now I have it in a note in my phone. If I look 15 years back at what my numbers were, and I look today in my last birthday, what they are, they're completely different. Because what made me happy 15 years back is not making me happy today. If 15 years back you had contacted me and said, we need to do a podcast, we do this, that, my first question would be, how much? And if that was not enough, I'd say thank you. Because that's where the happiness came from. Today, did I ask that? No. Because why? Because greater good is giving me more happiness. The time I'm investing here with you, with the audience, sharing my ideas, if 100,000 people see this and 3 people, it affects their life positively, I'm happy. And this is where I met a young man the other day. He said, I need to meet, can you guys come, let's have coffee. I said, do you remember? I said, no. I said, okay, here's the picture. 2019, I met him in some youth thing here in some hotel and his picture with me. And this is where it started there. I was also thinking I'll get a job, this, that. I listened to you and I said, what? I need to do this. And today I have a jewelry shop in Dubai. I'm the president of the Jewelry Association of Dubai. And I've got shop in America and in Australia and in UK. And now I'm trying to go to 20 countries. And I just want to say thank you because you planted that seed. I met someone in Harvard who said, Dai, thank you very much. You don't know why, but you are the reason I'm here in Harvard. I said, how? He said, you do this, Me Nepali thing program, and I listened to it and I was, like, wow, I can do this. What do I need to do? I want to get to Harvard. How do I need to do my happiness? And today I'm in Harvard in full scholarship. That's today, not 15 years back. I don't know what will happen 10 years from now, God willing, if all is well. But I know the difference between someone who doesn't know the happiness formula and me is the numbers will change. I can consciously change my life as my numbers change, before my numbers change, as I see the changing trend. If you don't know, the numbers will change, hollowness will come, then you will change your life. 31 years in banking, 17 years as a CEO. Why did I say enough? There was much more many things over there. But why? Because my numbers changed. I was not getting happiness from being a CEO of a bank. I am getting happiness from doing this.
I think age will give you many other answers also.
I think so. But then I won't put it with age. This is again the Asian thing that with age comes wisdom. Hey, I know very many old people who are not very wise, let's say, and I know very young people who are extremely wise. The difference is this: they know two things. They know their happiness formula, and that gives them the energy. And second, they know their core competencies. Okay, just like a country, each individual has a core competency. If I wanted to be a neurosurgeon, I would have killed many people by now. All right, but I know my core competency and I'm utilizing that. If today you ask me to sing and I sing, the camera will crack and your audience will be zero-eyed. Okay, I cannot sing. I know I cannot sing. You need to know what is your core competency, and you need to know what is your skills, and you dovetail those two in. You dovetail your happiness formula and your core competencies in, and that journey of life is a journey where you say, wow, look at that energy, look at that glow. And that's what it's all about.
My second last question. So, in the materialistic society, it's easier to talk on the podcast, like we and me both are there, right? But status, power, money, everybody enjoys. Right? It's hard to let it go, right? So I think, how can you fix your mind? Obviously, you'll enjoy everything, every part of the coin, yes?
Yes.
So I think when you say such thing, okay, don't take too hard on yourself. But I don't think so people will take it.
The question is not whether status, power, money.
Because everybody's running. Yeah.
But the question is how much.
How much?
How much?
No.
This is the big question.
Line there.
Oh, money is not important. Hey, how are you living?
Yes.
How are you eating? How are you taking care of it? Is. So nothing is zero. In these 5 ingredients, nothing will be zero. Family and friends, not important, zero. No, even the people who spend no time, it's not zero. It may be 10, but not zero. Money is not important to me. Of course, it has to be 10, 15 because you need to have it. The question is how much. If you don't know that, then you just delve into one thing, money. It's so sad that there are very, very rich people who also die. And while their funeral pyre is being lit, the people who are around, for some reason they had, and I'm listening to them, while the pyre is still lit, they're talking negatively about this. Dharti ka boj ut gaya, chor hai, corrupt hai. Is that the legacy you want? Maybe that is, because for them, maybe that was the only thing that was important. But then they cannot say that, why are people speaking so badly of me? Because you lived a life like that. You are happy living a life like that. Now you're happy in the afterlife like that as well. That's perfectly fine. No problem with that. Now the question is, if you don't want that, you want another type of legacy, you got to live your life in a certain way that gives you happiness. You can't fake it. Right? One thing I can tell you, you may think you can. For some time you may be able to, but you can't take it for all the time. Okay? You need to live a real life. And the real life has to be your life, not your parents, not your brothers and sisters, not your gurus, your life. You need to know what is your... For some people who are in business families, I see them tortured because they were the son of this person or the daughter of... So they are in the business family. They have no happiness coming out of this. But they have big designation, big Range Rover, big, everyone looking wow and all. But I know that they're in such darkness because they wanted to maybe write music. Maybe they wanted to do something else or something of the sort. My daughter studied political science and psychology and international affairs in a bachelor's and master's. I was a banker. I should have said, do BBA, MBA, do BBS, be a chartered accountant. She would have been miserable. But because she was allowed to do whatever she is, she's wherever she goes. So we need each of the ingredients. No one can say, I don't need any fame. No one can say, I don't need any money. But the question is how much? And if you know yourself how much, you're on the right.
Because I believe it's okay to be preachy, but with logic should be there.
It should be there. No, it's not okay to be preachy. It's okay to be realistic. You need to be.
Yeah, with
like I
logic.
said,
Yeah.
why don't I tell Nepali youth to return? My daughter is in New York. How do I tell other people's sons and daughters to return? I can. I could never mention my daughter is in New York. I could go through this whole podcast saying all the youth should come back and we should all go work together. And so I came back, after all this sort of thing and all. But then at some point, someone's going to, and what about your daughter? They will ask. And I'll say, oh, my daughter, well, let's not move to the next question. Yeah. No, you need to be realistic. I'm a realist, if nothing else. I could tell you wonderful things about this country and just the wonderful things and how great it is. Oh, yeah. But it's not the reality.
Like politicians do.
Yes. Like I said, when my Indian friends, when I was studying there, when my father was there, A, B, C, D, I have Bera Chaukidar driver. As a Nepali, I have to say, this is the reality of yesterday. Today's reality is, yes, A, B, C, D, E, X, Y, Z also. We are there throughout. You need a neurosurgeon, you will get a Nepali. You need a tech scientist, you'll get a Nepali. I'm sure in Indian, space agency also, there'll be Nepalese who are there, who are working. But we have to be realistic. No, that's what it was. If you just say, no, no. That's why then you become preachy, and the people who are watching are not idiots. When we watch also, we know immediately, diya, isne to diya, pheka, and that's it. Flick, next one you go.
So my last question, the stage is all yours. Whatever you want to say, it can be straight from your heart. Whatever you want to say to the public, it's completely your call.
So since you've come here all the way from India to do this podcast, I want to say something about our two countries. We are very close, but sometimes it is with closeness that comes misunderstanding and tension. You never have a fight with someone who's just walking on the road with the side. You have a fight with your brother,
Right.
with your relatives. And today India is booming, and India has many friends now. I see BRICS happening. I see Mr. Modi everywhere, and Putin wants to shake his hand and all that sort of thing. But I just want to remind you, my Indian brothers and sisters, whether it is in the glaciers in the Himalaya, whether it is in the hot deserts, whether it is in the seas, while you may have many friends, there is only one brother that stands shoulder to shoulder with you, ready to give their life to protect your country. And that's the Nepali. And for ages and ages, the Gorkhas have been there. And for ages and ages, it will continue. So while you can have many brothers and many friends, there are very limited brothers and sisters, and we have that relationship. So sometimes between brothers and sisters, there is more tension than even between friends and definitely unknown people. But that's okay. That's because of the closeness that there is, And it is that closeness that was there in my forefathers' time, that is there today, and I'm sure it will continue going forward as well. And that's what I want to say. And it is that closeness, having grown up in India, having studied in India, I keep saying, for us, Nepalese, as is for you, we want to go there for studies, we want to go there for religion, we want to go there for commerce. We want to go there and be together because, hey, we're not just friends, we're brothers.
What a closing, man. Sir, what a closing. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really loved the closing.